Hello guys, welcome to my channel for new battle report. So this is the fourth game of Bellum Lacum 5. As a reminder, so Saturday went good for us. We had three solid wins, so we were top of the table. And yeah, after a good evening, not too much sleep because I woke up very early. I was just telling my friend Jake online that we woke up so early with one of my teammates that we decided to do a YouTube live on Sunday morning, like 6:30 in the morning. And I was surprised, pleasantly surprised to see some guys following the live actually, where we just took the time to, yeah, like half an hour to recap what happened day one. Was funny to do, but yeah, very early to do a YouTube live. Anyway, yeah, love this picture, the way my Great Khan is looking after the painting job that I've done on him. Spent quite a lot of hours last year on this model to achieve and to have something that looks the way I want to. So really happy about the way it looks, like really pop in the eye. Anyway, let's come back. So we were facing the second team of TRC, solid team as well. I was facing one guy that I knew, never played against him before, but he was at ETC last year. I know he's a solid guy. I think he played also with the Russia team that came third. So definitely someone that was multiple time at ETC and that is a good player. So it was going to be a very tough and interesting game. What happened during pairing process? So I faced the Warrior of the Dark God, which is for me an unstable yellow. It depends a lot who starts, what's the secondary objective, and so on. Then we had a Demon Legion Mirror, which was rated, Shizu rated it as a green because he played the exact same matchup a week before and 20 the opposite guy. So definitely we will see if what happened, if there is a revenge or confirmation, but we expected a win here. Then we had our VC player that played against an Ogre Khan player from TRC. And then we had, last but not least, our Dwarvenhold against ID, which we weren't too happy about that. In our view of the metrics and the matchups, we were thinking that we had good chances to put a high score against ID. Definitely think so. And then yeah, they were able to save the ID somewhere according to us, and so we knew that, yeah, according to the pairing metrics, we didn't do so much, we didn't have so much of a big advantage after the pairing, but that's usually what happens during this tournament. My list, you know it already. This is my opponent's list. So strange list, yeah, everything is double up more or less in the list. So we have 3 horsemen, 3 scoring units that are very mobile, 2 piece of chaff, 2 times wretched one, 2 chimera, and then 3 strong single model, elder per weapon, ancestor, supernatural dexterity, and exalted herald. So minimal magic setup, only 3 spells, but then 3 very strong pieces, the strongest maybe in the book. And then other than that, yeah, a couple of scoring and plenty of chaff. You can see you can sacrifice a lot of stuff in the list. Even horsemen, if you don't need them to score, you can sacrifice them as well. So you can sacrifice a lot to set up, to put in place the combat that he wants to, which was something I needed to be aware of. And also the second factor that is important in the list is the 1000 point of wretch one, because they can wretch your plan. Definitely wreck your plan. Basically, I didn't know exactly what to expect from them. Didn't play much against random mover. Personally, I'm not a fan of random movement because I think you have a lack of control of what happens and you cannot decide whether or not you want to open the game, you want to engage and stuff like that. So they can be really good in some matchups, but definitely for me, they make Warrior list a bit more unstable and you just have less control of what to do. So I was also thinking when I saw this list, there are also a couple of things that I can exploit. We played Spoil of War on Dawn Assault. The map was a good news for me, Dawn Assault, because like you saw in many of my games against, I often put Warrior of the Dark God MSU and Demon Legion MSU in the same basket for me because it's the same type of matchup. And as you saw, very often I kind of cornered, not really a corner, but in a way I use one side of the table to be, yeah, against, so to say. Basically you have one flank less to defend, and in this case to already have 1/4 where it cannot deploy any unit means that no matter what I was going to deploy in such a way, either left corner, right corner, to basically minimize or mitigate a little bit what he might do with his high mobility pieces, the 3 single models. So no matter what, I would have done that, but then in this case, he has already a piece of terrain where he cannot put anything in front of me, and that makes it slightly better for me than a normal frontline clash, for example, because it reduced his ability to push me straight. Spell selection, so nothing too crazy here. As you can see, he's very tiny, only 3 spells, damage spell, no buffs at all, which is also an important factor in this matchup. Starting would be good, because I know in this type of matchup that he's forced to minimize more or less if he doesn't want to suffer already from my range damage and then have less threats to be in combat. He has plenty of chaff in his list, and I think chaff watch is very important in this game. What do I mean by chaff watch? Is always being very careful, watch closely to which position can he moves with his chaff to chaff me, because as you saw in my list, it's kind of blocky for an Ogre Khan. I don't have as many threats or mobile units as some other list. I have 3 big blocks that don't move that well because of the size of the footprints and the model, basically. So I have to be very careful if he can't or can chaff me, because that could change a lot. So I have to be very careful about that. I expected my Tusker guy and also Great Khan to be very important in the matchup. Yeah, strength 7, multiple wound, can do a lot against this type of single model. Tusker with great weapon, the banner should do well. We saw last game against the Mo, they clean it in one go, so I expected them also to be important in the matchup. My giant, again, against MSU, DL or Warriors of the Dark God, giant is a key piece, basically because he can slow down the strong flank. We saw that last game. I deployed him in the weak flank. He needed to pay attention to what the giant do, and then I just caused an amount of march check that was very, very high, and at some point, if he failed an important one, it just slowed down his advance towards me, and we know that in this type of matchup they want to come at me, so that was also an important factor, and also one of the main reasons for me to feature giant in the list. Only 3 spells, no buffs, no CC buff at all, which is important because it means if I engage and I cannot deal with him in one go, even if it lasts a little bit, I know that how can I say, the terms of the combat will be the same, will remain the same on his side, meaning I can only influence that positively with my magic. So that's also important. While getting charge, I don't need to expect totally different things. I know more or less what to expect from him regarding damage output in close combat. Ratchet 1 can open the game, but yeah, I think dealing with them will be a key. I have some good tools to deal with them because my 3 main units are not too much in trouble. I mean, tribesmen, obviously I will suffer heavy casualties against them, but I paid for 11 of them, and I don't care if I lose 4 or 5 tribesmen before killing 1 unit, because I will still be there and still be a threat. I think Tusker are also fine against them because of Resilience 5 and Trap Armor Save. His AP 0, Strength 4 should be fine. And then Merkvet, they just strike very hard, but I need to be careful with Merkvets because so many auto hits can hurt them. I don't have so many health points, so I think the key will be how I deal with them, and especially I need to pay attention what I do with my Mercs. My estimation of the matchup was an unstable draw. Deployment. So he gave me the side of the map that was the most annoying for me. Makes perfectly sense. I think just gave me an impassable in the middle of my line. I know that my list, being not so mobile with 3 big footprints, like to be close to each other or have some freedom of movement, and this basically gives him opportunity to play with impassable against me, use some tricks, and can be annoying for me. Also put space between some of my units that I not necessarily want to. So I think this was a smart choice from him. And basically after that I just dropped for first turn, because yeah, on one side I don't have the best part of the map that I would like to have, but at the same time I was really happy to start. So I dropped Tusker on the left, a unit of Bruiser facing the left, ready to go also for the secondary. Since I didn't know how he was going to deploy, I figured out if he refuses and put nothing on this part of the map, I can push hard with the Tusker, close the space quickly and go for the token with a small dart, and then still have a freedom of movement with my Tuskers. Then I dropped my Death Star over there with my Great Khan 3 wide, because yeah, he has a big unit. I don't want him to combo charge heavily, so I prefer to have a Steadfast for a long time. Small unit of tribesmen, my Merc unit with Mage and PSP, Tusker, Saber-tooth Tiger, second Dart of Bruiser, Giant, and the Frosty. And what did he do? He deploy Horseman, Elder, Exalted Herald, Dogs, Wretched One, some other unit of Horsemen, Chimera, Dogs, last unit of Horsemen, and the Ancestor over there. So basically you can see 30 inch away, nothing in there, which is also nice for me. Yeah, obviously I don't get shooting turn 1, but I like the fact that I can get some board space early on, and then we'll see. So my turn 1. I push forward, but cautiously, so to say. I make sure I cannot escape my line of sight. I just put myself in position, move a bit more forward with my darts in case I need to chaff soon. I find a good spot with my Giant just behind the hill to cause to be within 18 of the 2 single model. They cannot see me. Nobody can charge me, still far away, and basically I will force them to take a first march check, which is nice because if they fail that one, it's starting to slow them down from turn 1 onwards, which is nice. At the same time, he has no good spot to hide. He has some small spot over there, but not much. He cannot put both model in here because I have my Mercvets looking at here and they are looking that way, so it's pretty short the space that he has behind. And if he tries to move towards the right, I have still 2 single models that together are too much of a threat for a model like Feldrock Elder. Would be a big risk for him to offer me a combo charge, basically. In my magic phase, he dispelled Wrath of God. I did nothing first turn. His turn 1, so he moved his Ancestor towards the side of the board, tried to play with the side of the board to minimize the contact. Put Horseman towards the left, prepare the Dog also. Still remind, it was I think quite smart in the way he still minimized my shooting against the juicy target, so Chimera remains all the way back to avoid my shootings. Wretched One move a bit forward but not too much. Here you see Exalted Herald. Obviously here I will need to move away my Giant because of them, because they could easily charge me over since they are random mover. The Feldrock Elder moved to the side. He passed 2 times his march check, so no problem at all due to the position of the Giant. Magic phase, he got Toxic Breath off on himself and got Mark for Doom and did 2 wounds on my Frosty, so not bad for first turn. My turn 2. So what did I do? Basically, since he was threatening, I checked also he could chaff me up to a point, but not that much since we are really far away. So I decided to move slightly back with my Tusker, but still give me space to wheel pass and charge here if he wanted to push. At the same time, I wanted to put pressure on him regarding secondary, and I just positioned my Bruiser Dart on the secondary on the left. I also prepare my little Tiger in case I need to chaff, in case he wants really to push and put me in trouble. Also, since I figured out, if you watch at the map, so you have obviously these 2 guys that are going to be a bit of a problem, but they're still quite far away yet. So I wanted to make sure I cannot start to advance too much with his Ancestor, and I closed the map on the left with my Great Can, basically just making sure I can start to try to face you. If I do a couple of wounds, it could matter a lot after, and also position my Great Can in a way that I could charge him, and if he moves too much forward. So that was the idea. I made sure I respected the positioning of Wretched One, make sure he has no impact. He couldn't impact all these units. What he could do is on the 17, so 6, 6 and a 5 on 3 dice, no reroll, get against them in the flank, but I wasn't too worried. I didn't cover for the counter charge and so on. I wasn't too worried because I have a big unit of tribesmen, so it's not too big of a deal. What I could have and should have done, I wanted to keep everyone within 9 leadership, but doesn't matter that much because he has no damage on this part of the map. I could have just positioned my Great Can on the right, just making sure if he tried to charge, overrun and so on, he could be in trouble. Basically that was the something I could have done better. And then regarding single model, I just start to back off to form a solid line to make hard for him to push. So I just move back with my Giant, move away also with the Frosty, just making sure he has no combat turn 2 with this unit. Basically my magic phase, I did try face against his Ancestor but did no wounds. I got also Wrath of God. I decided to position here near the hill. My thought process was I don't want him to come behind the hill, cast spell against my monsters, still be protected from the hill. Also, I expected these two units not to move that much, so they would be in range from Wrath of God and still be hurt by Wrath of God. And if they move too much, then I can charge them. So that was the idea. Shooting, I did 4 wounds to 1 unit of Wretched One, which is already something. And then his turn 2, and this happened. So he got 665, he got 666. So definitely the game started to open. It was a very interesting time, because after both these two happened, he said to me, sorry, no, the game, I need to open the game and so on. He was rather happy. I didn't say much, but what I thought in my mind was, I think this is definitely an opportunity for me, because am I really worried by this unit? I can either, if he decides not to overrun or passes his check not to overrun, if he doesn't one-shot me, he could one-shot me, but it's not sure. But if he doesn't overrun, I could countercharge in the flank with them. Here I have also some answer. I could back off, I could charge with the Frosty or the Mercs in the flank. I had plenty of solutions. My big unit, yeah, he could overrun against me, would pin me down, but is it too annoying? Not really. I have Great Khan, enough health point, should be fine. So I wasn't too worried, and I thought this is also an opportunity for me to, while they are close to me, charge them, deal with them, and then that's 1,000 points, first of all. Second of all, it's some good threats that are away, and I still have single model to chaff and slow down his right flank. So I was feeling not too worried, but it was interesting for me to see that we didn't have the same view on the situation. Basically, he saw that as an opportunity, and me too. So that was funny. What he decided then to do is, since he was pretty sure to overrun and chaff me, he could push a lot with Ancestor because I couldn't charge him. So that was something still good for him, is the fact that he could push with Ancestor without having to care about the charge of the Great Khan. So that was well done. He pushes also with a Nidra out of my line of sight to threaten my scoring unit. This one also moved forward as well. And then what he wanted to do is basically making sure if I charge him, I have only 2 guys in contact, which was something okay because of the board and the size of my base and his base. I couldn't only put 2 in base contact, so that was fine for me. And then he decided to try something to put the dogs to make me charge. I would hit the dog first, but then what he didn't realize at this point of time is the fact that if I charge a dog, then I still, because of my big frontage, I still overrun in the flank of him, which is much worse than a minimized situation. So we'll see how he reacts to that, but he didn't realize that at that time. He decided also to be aggressive against this token, so went on the token with the cav. These guys, I don't know what they did, they just remained in the back for the moment, didn't need them at all. And then the other 2 as well are just being patient for the moment. It's only turn 2 and still a lot are engaged or are going to be engaged. Magic Face, what happened? I Binding Scroll Hereditary, thinking I need my Frosty. Possibly I need to corner engage with the Frosty or do something against them, so I didn't want to lose him right now. So Binding Scroll that, he did a Toxic Breath, did another wound to me. Not too worrying. And then we went to close combat. Yeah, I don't know if he one-shot me or, yeah, I think he one-shot me and overrun to pin me down. So that was, yeah, a good plan. My turn. So what I will do is basically, here I'm stuck. Here I decided to charge with the Merc in the flank, because it's a good opportunity to be hit only by 2 models. They are too close to me, so I cannot really slow them down. They can turn around, charge what they want. I'm in big trouble if I don't charge. So since they are there and I see their flank, let's go. Merc here, and then I need to use one of my single model to basically slow down these 2 pieces that are going to be quite close of the combat. So I decided to see with the Frosty what are my options, and I figured out I have a good way to basically make sure he cannot see my Merc Vets, and this guy would be chaffed. So basically he could combo charge and get my Frosty, but I would have dealt in the meantime with both units of Wretched One, figuring out it's not too bad. And on the left I charged with the Tusker against the dogs. When he realized that the overrun would be in his flank, he decided to flee. Basically I passed my non-rollable to redirect, and I charged the Ancestor, which was the initial ID, and still only 2 model in contact, so that was okay. And yeah, I grabbed the token on the left, obviously. So here you see my the rest of my movement phase. So they grab the token, reformed. I use the dog as chaff against the Hydra, basically making sure if he charge, overrun, he get nothing, stops 1 inch away from the impassable, and if he charge doesn't overrun, then my Death Star should be able to grab him next turn. So that could be the idea. So here, as you can see, we're stuck in combat. Same goes here. So yeah, 3 important combat, especially the one on the left. So really looking forward. And here what I did do, so since it was too close between Fedrak Elder and them, I decided to put the Frost. Seeing again the picture, I think it was also possible to use the Giant in front of him, continue to keep the Frosty alive, but I don't know, maybe here in the back as a counter charger. Does he want to come alone with a Feldrak Elder against Merc Vets? Don't think so, basically, because of Tend and Shoot, Poison, and so on. But I was a bit worried in case I don't kill all of them. He comes in, minimizes, did a lot of wounds, so I just took the safe choice, basically. Turn them around in case he pushes forward, I can countercharge maybe, and then I use the Giant to move around and threaten the scoring unit that is on the spoil. Just saying to him, if you grab it, you cannot move out of my line of sight and I could charge you, possibly causing terror and so on. Magic phase, so an important magic phase. I got Hereditary and Rod of Battle on my Tusker. It dispels Mighty Unbeliever, -1 resilience, which makes perfectly sense. After that, with my shooting, I did with Hunting Spear 2 wounds to the Feldrak Elder, which was really nice. And I got Wrath of God. Yeah, Wrath of God was here in the middle. So yeah, that's something I observed before taking the charge. I knew there was a risk that I would be hit against mercenaries. I lost 3 wounds in the process, or five wounds, I guess. And yeah, 5 wounds, and kill only 2 dogs. But yeah, still that was the right decision. And yeah, didn't see really that coming. Could have placed it maybe better, I don't know. But yeah, that was it. Close combat, what happened? So here I killed everybody except 1, which was nice. He didn't do much in return because only 2 model hitting. Here I had still 5 model in base contact. He did 15 wounds to me, I guess. No, he did 40. Here I did 15 wounds. He did 2 to me, and here he did 14 wounds to me, and I did 4 to him. I passed my 9 rollable, passed 9 rollable to reform, so that was fine. Here I reform in a way, looking forward, just making sure that it doesn't countercharge me with the cavalry in the flank. Always going to be a risk. I look forward, still there was 1 guy remaining. I figure out being in the flank with 16 attack was going to be enough to kill the last guy. And the big command on the left was interesting because I got... Basically, it's like I have 3 buffs. I have 2 buffs, which is Hereditary and Rod of Battle, which are nice. But then I have also my the special banner that makes me reroll the 1 to hit, wound, armor save. So that was going to be interesting. So I did a total of like 4 wounds, which is kind of expected, I guess. I was on 3+, rerolling the 1s to hit, and then either 5+ rerolling the 1 to wound with the beast, and also 4+ rerolling the 1s to wound with the great weapon, plus 2d3 impact, wounding on 5 up, rerolling the 1s. So that was everything I had, quite a lot of attacks. And he had the issue that single model have sometimes. He has only 6 or 7 attacks, I think 6 attack, I would say. Hitting me on 2s, wounding on 3s because of Hereditary. He didn't do well, did only 2 wounds to me. And with breast weapon wounding me on 6, he did nothing, meaning I was losing by a lot because I had a charge and a standard, so I was up by 2. And then I think wound wise we should do more or less the same, and here I did like 4 and he did like 2 to me, so he was losing by 4 or 5, a big number. It didn't pass his check on a 4 or something, fled off the board. I didn't pass my check on a 9, no reroll to restrain, so I had to pursue, which was a bit of a bad news, but still I was quite happy to deal with him. So yeah, double buff plus the banner on the charge. It was too much for him, basically. This close combat, yeah, I already told you about the other one. Okay, let's move on. He's turn 3. So here I face him and put max attack. So as you can see, I went 5 wide, Great Can in the middle. We'll see if somebody survives next round. So he charged his Chimera against my dog, charge a second Chimera against the Bruisers, and And here he did a smart move. He moved his cavalry forward to block a little bit my entrance. And the rule is I need to enter as close as possible from the point where I exit the board. And since he went a bit more south, it forced me to enter a bit more to the top of the map, which was, I think, a good move. He failed that charge. That was an 8 swift right, a bit unfortunate. He charged me with his Elder against my Frosty. I held to chaff, reposition his Exalted Herald here to threaten me. The dogs, I think he didn't pass a march, wanted to chaff something, but didn't pass it. Just move forward. This cavalry took the token, move away. This one moved to the side. So Magic is turn 3, didn't do much. I think he failed to cast spell at my bruiser, didn't do much at all this time. Close combat, disappointing for him. He did nothing to me, I did nothing to him. And I passed a check on a 7 rollable, which was a bit fortunate for me. So yeah, here I was a bit lucky. I could have here, we see also, yeah, but I didn't want him to exit my line of sight. I was thinking I could have maybe look that way to have a counter charge in the back maybe, but I think if I would have done that, he could have escaped my line of sight on the right, and then I have no chance of catching them. So I think that wasn't an option. Other combat, I killed that, I killed these, and yeah, that's going to be my turn 4. So already a lot happened here. Tusker comes on the board back. I charge with them, an easy charge against the Chimera that failed charge against me. So they have the token, and then I move my Agrisus. I love these moments when I take him out on his wheelchair alone, fighting stuff. It's just, yeah, it's a big joy for me. So Agrisus went out fighting against the second Chimera, wanted to get rid of these two. During this time, I reform my remaining tribesmen, put my BSB within plus the mage, to be far away from the threats, but still be able to cast spell and do stuff against the 2 remaining threats. Use my bruiser as chaff against Exalted Herald, and I use my Merc. I march them forward up to here, making sure that even if he deals with me this turn, basically, while reforming, it cannot see them and charge them. Exalted Herald is chaffed, so basically has no way to get them other than charge them with his cavalry, but I think has no chance to fight my mercs. And then the idea was, then I have two turns remaining, so 2 turns of shooting against 8 cavalry, plus also have 2 way of threatening him and just making hard for him to hide. So I was feeling that was the right move. I don't need so much to grab another point, and I felt it was going to be too hard for me, because even if I put my mercs here, I'm in big trouble. If he deals with me this turn and charge me, I cannot deal with him, basically. So I didn't want to risk anything else than hunt down this unit for the secondary and not grab the middle one, keep the one on the left. That was my plan. I positioned my Tusker in a way to support my Bruiser if needed next turn, but yeah, I think it's pretty much over their game for the Tusker. They don't have much left to do, basically. My magic phase, so I put -1. So always try to, that's something my coach told me a couple of months ago, but when you go into combat, that is important, like this one on the left. Basically, as you can see here, I wasn't too much at risk, because in 2 turns I was going to win that one, no problem. This one also wasn't at risk. So basically I went full buff in there. I have 3 buffs, all buffs in the same combat. No risk at all. No Rod of Battle on them, and then Hereditary here. Everything on the key combat that matter a lot. Here, if I take 1 more turn to deal with him, okay, it's not that great, but doesn't matter much. Same goes for here. I still have way to delay, but this one was very important. So I did the same approach for here. I put -1 strengths on the Chimera, and I felt that was going to be good. Then I put a Wrath of God up there, basically same thought process. If you move forward to be far away from me, then you get a Wrath of God on you. And if you try to go another way, I have ways to catch you with these 2 units. Frost Mammoth, he did like 2 wounds to me, I did 1 to him. Something like that. I lost by 1. 7 rollable, passed it again. Lucky me again. Yeah, Grisus, no problem to deal with the Chimera. These guys as well, they break the Chimera. I don't know if I kill him or break him, but he just fled and I overrun up to here. Or fled or died, I don't know, and I overrun forward, basically. I didn't want to reform to have a long charge for him against one of my spoils. Turn 4 of Roy of the Dark God, so here is in combat, stuck. He decided to put his Exalted Herald here to do damage against Merc Vets and also say there is no way you grab that point in the middle. He moved them away by 8, so you see here my Wrath of God, and he has the token with them, leaving me with like an 11 charge for my Giant. He failed the march with the dog, so was unable to chaff one of my threats here, which was a bit annoying for him. Move these guys past march and move away, and he moved these guys toward my bruiser to threaten me, out of line of sight of most of my stuff. I could have turned away differently greases. I don't think it was so smart to look towards the left, because these guys, if they fail march, I would have charged them with the Tusker, so I should have looked another way around to threaten them, maybe with a long charge, or I don't know. Magic Phase, I Dispel Hereditary, boosted on my Merc Vets, then he did Breath of Corruption, did 1 wound to my Mercs, but not a lot. My Wrath of God comes down, kill 4 of them, he passes his panic check, so he was fine. My turn 5, Giant charge them, they move out, they fail third check and move out of the board, so that was really nice. I put Gracious within the unit of Bruiser, just saying to him, you can charge me, but then I have my Great Khan ready for you, so I'm not sure you can beat me in close combat. Put my Tusker also around, in case he charge me, I have a counter charge as well. Move my Merc Vets out of line of sight of the Exalted Herald, but ready to shoot at the Fedrak Elder that has only 2 wounds remaining. He killed my Frost Mammoth last turn, but I was able to do another wound to him, so he has only 2 wounds left. And here I have 8 shot plus 4 shot, 12 shots to do 2 wounds remaining, plus some magic, could be feasible. I decided not to charge with my Bruiser Bruiser Darts, because it's just too risky. If he beats me in combat, he can free pivot, charge stuff. I don't want to. So I just want to, yeah, I think I was in good position here. My Magic Phase, I get Smite off -1 toughness, so should help me. But I roll like a 4-4, so I lost the spell, and then with shooting I did 3 wounds total, but he saved 2 of them on a 5-up, so I did only 1 wound, so he has 1 wound left, and that was it. His turn 5, he didn't charge here because he has no chance, just move away, reposition to try to catch the Merc Vet last turn. Basically what he made is just, I have no way of shooting at him and not being at risk of getting charged by the Exalted Herald, basically. So he wanted to take that point in exchange for them, basically. Move him towards the bottom, move them away, and that was it. My last turn, do I have another picture? Yeah, I have another one. My last turn, so I marched them away. Well, yeah, as you can see with magic, he did like 2-3 wounds, two wounds to them maybe, so not much, but I just march away. Why did I put them in that position? Basically, if I would have moved back, he would still be in my flank, and I didn't want him to charge me in the flank, because even with 1 wound, if I fail with my 3 attack to kill him, he could get the Bruiser. I could have faced him, could have been an option. I decided just to move forward and tell him, you can charge me in the back, you can fail that charge, and the Exalted Herald who want to magic other stuff has to choose between taking them or try to take them with magic, basically. That was my approach, and yeah, that was it. And I did the last spell, which was, I think I did Smite the Unbeliever, try to kill him. Didn't do anything. I tried to shot with the BSB, didn't do anything. And then I tried the Wrath of God with my remaining dice, I guess. But that was really stupid. I rolled 666 and lost 3 wounds. I think on the Wrath of God. I don't remember on which one, but that was really stupid, because Wrath of God, why? This unit can move 16. This unit can move 16. The same, and they can move as well. So, yeah, there is no way I could catch anything with the Wrath of Gods. Yeah, that was completely stupid, and I lost half the point of the mage. So that was the mistake of this game, more or less. And yeah, last turn, he won't do much. I think he did nothing to magic, and that was it, more or less. So I took 2,847. He took 893. I put full dog, but it's 1 and 1.5, but that's the total he gave me. plus secondary objective, which was Spoil of War, 1-2-0, which makes it 18-2. Nice win. The map wasn't ideal for me because it forces me to split a bit my forces, but on the other hand, I was quite happy to start the game, and rather happy to start and have a bad map than the opposite. My high number of scoring mattered. As you can see, he had only 3 scoring, which makes it kind of hard. They are kind of weak, so makes kind of hard to go on the spoil in the middle of the board or my strong flank. On the deployment, I have a big doubt whether or not, but I think I should have positioned my Death Star, the Tribe Star, on the left, because if I do that, then it's I'm not only, yeah, obviously in this game it turned out to be good. I had 2 buffs off, I was able to deal with the Ancestor in one go, so I was fine, but still, to reduce the risk, and that's also something I try always to do. It's not only think about the result. I could say, yeah, it's 18, perfect, everything was perfect, fine, great, I did great. But it's not really the case. It's more thinking what I could have done even better to just put even more safety in the approach of dealing with the Ancestor. And I think if I would have put my Tribe Star on the left, it makes things really, really hard for him to move to the side with the Ancestor, because that's no way the Ancestor is going to win against the Great Khan with Kagedaya. So I think that would have been even better, and then he has just no way at all to attack this flank. It's always the key question when you deploy against one side of the map. You need to be sure that your strong flank is really a strong flank, and by I mean strong flank is the fact that he cannot fight it. If he tries to fight against it, it should be bad for him. So in this case, I think I could have been even better. And then considering the deployment that I did, I think I could have done at one point reform my Tusker too wide to basically make sure that, okay, you can minimize, but then when I charge you, you get 12 attack strength 6. No matter what happened, I get only 2 Tusker that attacks, only 2 times impact hit, but then 12 attack strength 6. And these attacks are worth a lot. So I think that was also another solution to solve the issue on the left. Wretched One opened the game. I could have put, like I said, Great Khan to the side to just make it slightly worse for him. He would have lost a couple of more Wretched One turn 1, and then I would have lost slightly less Tribesmen, but didn't matter much. Buff Tusker, yeah. Tusker, I mean, reroll the ones, Hereditary, Rod of Battle. After that, they're just a wrecking ball, basically. Giant, always precious on the weak flank. That's something I can almost always say. You saw last game against the Demon Legion, it was a great game from the Giant. And again, this game, it took away the spoil, make him fail some precious march check, thinking here especially about the chaff piece. So definitely the Giant was very precious on the weak flank. The endgame wasn't optimal point-wise, thinking about the stupid Wasp of God. I don't know if that would have put me up to 19, maybe. If that's the case, really stupid for me. And then, yeah, good range damage, minimization by Wario. I think we can say that. If you look up to my turn 1 and 2, I wasn't able to shoot at anything worth it. Basically, the Merc Vets weren't able to get any shot during the first couple of turns against the 3 precious targets, the 3 key targets. So I think he did a very good job with the way he deployed and minimized while still being able to approach from the flank, basically. What happened this round? Yeah, turned out to be not that good. We suffered our first loss of the tournament, 33-47. Basically, I got 18, we got 12 on the Dwarvenhold against ID match, which was something expected. I was quite happy with that, but then we got 2 big disappointment, and this makes up to, yeah, it gets to a good loss for us. But basically, our Vampire turned out to be in a bad situation against Borsha's list. That was an MSU, quite aggressive. And basically, by wanting to play the secondary, it cost him a lot, because he tried to break through, had an impassable in the middle of his line, just make life very, very hard for VC while getting pushed by Ogre MSU. So well played by Borsha. And the Demon Mirror just exploded, basically. Yeah, like Mirror can be sometimes a bit unlikely. Maybe we were too confident with the rating of this matchup. Definitely we didn't make the best choices at the beginning. I think with the approach and deployment it wasn't perfect, when my player called me for timeout. And then we took some decision, but I think overall we could have at one point sacrificed stuff to the character that were very annoying and pushing on what flank, and then still play good the rest of the battle and end up with something way better. Because to lose one game is something I think we could have ended up with a 7 and an 8, which changed a lot. Basically, we win the round with a score like that. So that's a bit of a disappointment. When you suffer heavy losses, it's just impossible to compensate, basically. But yeah, that wasn't over at all. So after this round, TRC went first of the table. We still had chances to climb and go towards the podium, or still we were still able to win it, because both TRC teams were going to face each other on table 1. So we still have a chance to do something very good in this tournament. So we needed to stay focused. I told to my team after this round, nothing was lost at all. We have to be focused to take maybe our timeout at better time in the game. We did that really good on the first day, less good on this first game of day 2. So we still had a couple of things to adjust before facing the Italian team, Team Piloli. Thanks a lot guys for watching this battle report, and talk to you soon on my channel. Bye bye.